It's been said time and again that Africa couldn't feed itself until now. For decades, the continent was fed stories of hunger, famine, drought, and foreign grain bags with foreign flags. But something has changed. Now, the same continent, once branded as a receiver of aid, is projected to power a $1 trillion food economy by the year 2030. From hydroponic farms in Egypt, to drone crop mapping in Kenya, to youth-run agri-startups in Somalia, Africa isn't begging for bread anymore. We're selling the bakery. Let's check it out.
The Africa Food Systems Forum is underway in Dakar, Senegal. Regional leaders, activists and economists are examining the obstacles hampering the development of agriculture on the continent. Beryl Oro brings us the details.
The Africa Food Systems Forum kicked off in Dakar on Monday with two presidents present for the opening ceremony: Senegalese President Diomaye Faye and Rwandan President Paul Kagame. The forum puts farming at the center of the continent's growing economies. Significant parts of Africa are becoming drier and weather more erratic due to human-driven climate change.
In the field of agriculture, the FSRP implements several types of climate-smart irrigation systems that are truly adapted to the climate, but also contribute to productivity, production, and the well-being of the communities affected. We are also involved in providing access to climate information and digitalization.
There is a continent-wide push for climate-smart agriculture to replace outdated farming practices. Organizations are working with governments to set up systems that can inform farmers about rain cycles and better planning.
Today, we believe that in West Africa, all producers should have real-time access to climate information. They should be able to find out and have access to the most useful information to determine the start date of their crop calendar, the date of the first sowings, etc. And with partners such as Anansim in Senegal and Anchor in other countries, we have developed a digital platform to send SMS messages to targeted producers so that 2 or 3 days before the most useful information is available, producers can access it to prepare themselves, prepare their campaigns, and above all, know the nature or type of seed they will use.
The other core issue up for discussion during the forum is financing for smallholder farming. Smallholders who typically farm on less than an acre of land produce around 70% of Africa's food supply. But these 33 million farmers struggle to access land, equipment, and finance.
We are also working on what we call cost-sharing financing, because one of the main problems in agriculture and livestock farming is access to financing. In this regard, in addition to all our initiatives in terms of agricultural development, the FSRP provides a solution in terms of access to financing.
For partners present at the forum, such as Ireland, the question of focusing on the primary victims of climate change in agricultural support programs, namely women and children, will be a key topic for discussion. Ireland focuses 50% of its funding in Senegal on women farmers.
We work specifically across all our programs, in Senegal especially, to target 50% of women as recipients. So our global priority is to target the furthest behind first, and we know that a lot of the time the people most affected by climate change, by climate crisis, are women and youth. So we try to integrate women and youth across all our programs, and in Senegal we work in food security, agricultural security and climate resilient agriculture, and we target women in all of these areas.
For Senegal's strategic partners, such as the UN World Food Programme, the aim is to set up training programs that will enable young people to access jobs in the agricultural sector.
All right, guys. So agriculture still employs over 60% of Africans, but the new generation isn't, holding on to garden tools. They're holding code. So Kenya's Twiga Foods connects 140,000 farmers straight to city markets through mobile data. The Thrive Agric in Nigeria lets everyday investors crowdfund farms via blockchain. You can literally own a share of rice, right? Pure Harvest. Egypt grows lettuce and strawberries in the desert, so no soil, no imports, just science. The Hello Tractor, which is the Uber for tractors, lets small farmers rent equipment by phone. The AFTA, or the AFCFTA trade zone that we've been talking about, links every farm to 1.4 billion customers. So this isn't subsistence, it's continental logistics, or as I like to say, this isn't aid, it's a flex, right? So for decades, the world told us that Africa, we couldn't feed ourselves without foreign seed, fertilizer, or NGOs dropping care packages. But the truth is, Africa already produces about 80% of what we eat. The problem was never the soil, it was the system. So distribution, storage, and financing bottlenecks turned abundance into shortage. But now these digital supply chains and solar-powered cold storages are now closing these gaps. So food sovereignty isn't just about survival, it's about power, because the hands that feed the world set the prices of peace, right? So Africa isn't waiting for a seat at the table, we're bringing the harvest, right? The results are already feeding the headlines. So Ethiopia has reached wheat self-sufficiency in 2023 and now exports to Kenya and Djibouti. Rwanda's smart agricultural program uses satellites to predict rainfall, saving millions in insurance. Burkina Faso's solar irrigation farms have turned dry land into export zones. In Somalia, hydroponic startups like Greenhouse Mogadishu deliver fresh produce year-round, even in rural areas. Now let's talk about who's leading this, right? So women and youth. Across the continent, women produce 70% of Africa's food. And now they're the CEOs of agri-tech ventures. So that's not a statistic, that's a strategy, intentional strategy. Each innovation means new jobs, regional trade, and dignity. Instead of importing rice from Asia, Africa's exporting technology to grow it better. That's not a number, that's a come up, a comeback, right? So fast forward to, we'll say, the year 2050, nearly 10 billion mouths to feed. Guess who owns 60% of the world's unused arable land? Yes, us, Africa, right? So Tanzania and Zambia are leasing regional agricultural zones to scale cross-border trade. Nigeria and Kenya are building AI-managed food reserves, and Morocco's OCP group, the fertilizer powerhouse, now supports soil health in 40 African nations. So if this momentum holds, the next global question won't be, can Africa feed itself? It'll be, can the world keep up with Africa's farms? And if you thought feeding a continent was bold, wait until we see what Rwanda's building next. So this story is huge, but it isn't about famine, it's about fortune. Africa's turned its old stereotype into new superpower. The world isn't shipping food to Africa. Soon, it'll be shipping food from Africa. So, mashallah, that's your Africa Insight for today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because at Mr.EmpowerTV, we don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. This is Mr. Empower, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.